This is no longer the team that we had in the beginning of the year when they were 2-5. This is a totally different team, and what they bring to the table travels. When you can run the ball consistently and play at least a little bit of defense, it gives you an opportunity to win, man.
Time for the middle on a Victory Monday in January 2022. Happy New Year to everybody out there. And it's been a couple of days since you and I have been together. A lot has transpired, including the Philadelphia Eagles beating the Washington football team. And later in the day, finding out that they have now qualified for the playoffs by virtue of San Francisco and Green Bay doing what they're supposed to be doing. And beating the Houston Texans and beating the Minnesota Vikings, respectively. Now, Barrett, do you have a connection? What's going on here?
Oh, my connection's kind of messed up. Hold on a second.
Yeah, your connection.
There we go. All right, let's rock.
Well, this is not a good way to ring in the new year, Barrett.
No, it's not.
I got to be honest with you. Now, I just got what I believe was COVID on Friday. And
get out.
Yeah, and I punched that in the face and got rid of it yesterday. So that's how my new year started. So but at least my internet connection is better. I apologize for anybody that had to listen to me yesterday on my Fox pregame show because I sounded like total shit. I had a massive sore throat and a cough, and I must have sounded awful. In fact, today I probably still sound bad, but I feel a whole lot better today. And ready to do some football discussion. And what a weekend, man!
It was a great weekend. Great weekend. You know, I mean, the game was not what I thought it was going to be. I couldn't believe that we allowed them to stay in the game as long as we did, but at least they won. You know what I'm saying? So, of course, you know, I'm always the guy that's my glasses always half full. But I mean, I was a little disappointed in how they approached the game and how they didn't have the intensity I thought they were going to have going into this game.
It's funny because you've been very optimistic about this team, more so than anybody that I know. But yesterday, I predicted that. I knew that Washington was going to come to play, and I kind of figured that this was going to be a fight. I didn't see that they would go up 10-0 again like they did on the Tuesday night game a couple of weeks ago at Lincoln Financial Field with Garrett Gilbert. But there, lo and behold, there you were, down 10-0 again. And you're like, man, what is happening here? And then it was 16-7 at half as Washington kicked the field goal to end the first half. And you're sitting there thinking, man, this is going to be a game into the fourth quarter. But never did I think, even at 16-7, that the Eagles were going to lose the game. I really didn't.
Me neither. At no point did I think that the Washington football team really had a shot. But I just didn't like. And I didn't like the way they approached the game. Now, this isn't playoff winning football, and they're in football. You know, they're in the playoffs.
Right.
And people don't need to understand when you go into these type of situations, everybody's record 0-0. You're heading into with a blank slate. This is no longer the team that we had in the beginning of the year when they were 2-5. This is a totally different team, and what they bring to the table travels. When you can run the ball consistently and play at least a little bit of defense, it gives you an opportunity to win, man. And I don't see them going out and seizing the day like they should be, man. They should go out there and hit guys in the mouth and just take away all, doubt that, they're going to win the game. Instead, they like to have them hang around a little bit, and you just can't do that, especially with these upper echelon teams they're about to be facing.
Yeah,
from this point on, you have double-digit teams that you're going to be facing, man.
Right. I mean, now we'll see what happens on Saturday night with Dallas and what kind of team is being fielded on either side. I mean, I expect a lot of reserves to be playing, either starting the game or going into the game pretty early from both sides, really. I don't know that there's a whole lot to gain on either side coming up Saturday night. And that's the other news, is that the Eagles game has been flexed now from Sunday to Saturday night, 8:15.
Yeah, I texted you that late last night.
Yeah,
I knew that made your day, didn't it?
Oh, totally. I was so excited, Barrett. I think I did. I went right back to sleep. You know, I love those night games. But the thing about it is it'll give, maybe depending on what the playoff schedule is, and we don't know what it is yet, maybe it gives them an extra day. I don't know. Maybe they'll be playing the following Saturday in the playoffs or the following Sunday. There's now a Monday night game in the playoffs that first weekend. So I don't know where they're going to, fall in that schedule, but maybe it gives them an extra day. Who knows? But either way, you'll have a football Sunday next week with no Eagles stress. You will have, just sort of waiting around to see what the final seedings are. Right now, it looks like they'd be playing the Rams, I believe, right? Who's now the 2 seed. Dallas loses yesterday at home to Arizona, and all I see is Dallas players and coaches complaining about the referees. We're going to get into that later today, too. A lot of good quotes coming out of Big D about the officiating. But Dallas falls from the 2nd seed all the way down to the 4th seed, which they cannot go any lower because they're a division winner. And so what that would mean is if it stays as is, I believe Dallas would then end up playing Arizona again in week 1 in the playoffs in a rematch at home.
Exactly.
4-5, and then the Eagles take on the Rams, and the 3 seed is Tampa would take on San Francisco. That's the way it sits.
Of all the games, I think we can go into this game and have the most confidence is the Rams.
You think so?
Yes, the Rams is a team that, they're smaller guys, and when you can run the ball consistently on the defensive side of the ball, it bodes well for you going against the Rams. They can't stop the run. Their guys are just too small. They have great pass rushers. You're not going to pass the ball on them, but you can run the ball on them consistently. So I think that's probably the best matchup we could get going into this playoffs. It opens up the door. I mean, things are falling into place.
Yeah. Well, the one thing about the Rams is you can't trust Stafford.
No, you can't.
For as good as his arm is, and he's got a great arm, no doubt about it, and he's tough, but you can't trust him.
Right.
I mean, if you're a Rams fan right now, you're just like saying, yeah, he's a better quarterback than Goff, but I don't trust him as far as I could throw him. You know what I mean? So that's a problem. That is a problem for Los Angeles. So, it doesn't matter really to me who they play. It's just, it's extra football. It's something that I did not expect at the beginning of this season. This season was sort of a fact-finding mission. As far as I was concerned, to see whether the football coach was a football coach. And I think we can all agree that he is. He's a little quirky. He's a little strange at times, but he's a quality NFL football coach. And I think that he has shown us that throughout this run that they've been on over these last 9-10 games. It didn't start out well, as everybody knows. At 2-5, you're sitting here wondering, wow, what do we got here? They're putting all this stuff on a quarterback that really isn't capable of handling it as far as a passer is concerned. And the coach doesn't seem to realize this. And then lo and behold, they figured out that let's use our biggest asset, which is our offensive line. It's one of the best in the National Football League. And let's just run the football predominantly. And that's when they started to win. And you got to give them credit for figuring it out, albeit maybe a couple of weeks late, but they figured it out. And they became their identity, and that's really where they started to win. Now you can sit here and you can poke holes in the schedule and say, oh well, they faced a lot of crap teams. There are a lot of crap teams in the NFL.
Yes,
I got news for people. 1/3 of the league is garbage every year. Okay.
And we were down there also.
Exactly. And you were in that 1/3, and we've elevated ourselves. But the bottom line is every year there's dog meat teams littered throughout the league. Okay. So everybody's going to play them. They went on a run where they got pretty fortunate with quarterbacks. So and that's why I'm not going to get carried away with this effusive praise for Jonathan Gannon, who everybody seems to be, having this about face on. I'm not convinced yet, okay, because I want to see them beat a good team with a good quarterback before I get crazy.
There lies the problem, because they had Tyler Heineke looking yesterday like he was Joe Montana.
I know.
A serious
and
problem.
Heineke stinks.
Yes, he does.
Okay.
That's a serious problem for me. I love the fact that this team has identified themselves as the Philadelphia Eagles. This is their brand of football. They're not looking to anybody else and seeing what their brand of football is. This is their brand of football.
And I like it too. I like a run-heavy team. That's sort of, that favors my old guy sensibilities.
Right. I mean, it's going back to that good old-fashioned slobber knocking, hit you in the mouth, neck roll football. That's my term. I'm calling Philadelphia Eagles football now.
Right.
Neck roll football.
Not Ike Reese's term. That's your term.
Yes, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And that's what it's all about. You're going out there and forcing your will on people. And then that's exactly what this Eagles team is doing. What irritates me to no end is that they still want to go out there and pass the ball sometimes. It scared me to death that that the Washington football team is ranked 30th against the pass. Because I know that's just an invitation for them to go out and throw the ball, all over the field. It's an open invitation for them when it shouldn't be so. They should dictate who they want, what they want to do on who they want to do it to. Not worry about what statistics are saying this team is doing or what they can stop or what they can't do or what you can't do. Do what you do. And what they do is run the football consistently. And the mere fact that they can go out and they want to just throw the ball around, and it's kind of disheartening for me. But I will say this. Jalen Hurts showed me something these last 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. He does have the ability to toss the ball around. He does have accuracy. He does have touch. Mm-hmm. He can pass our way in and out of football games.
Yeah, I'll tell you, the play he made on 3rd and 14 where he was rolling right, and then fired the ball to Greg Ward for the first down inside the red zone. That was a great throw.
A little stop route found him. He sat down in the hole, got it to Greg Ward. Greg Ward had two great catches yesterday. I mean, they're not great as far as, how the catches were made, but they were great as far as keeping the chains moving.
Exactly.
And they were definitely factors in that game.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. I liked the coach's aggressiveness near the goal line on 4th down. They scored on 2 4th downs. 4th and 1, 4th and 2, 4th and goal from the 1 or the 2, whatever it was. But I did not like the 4th down in the first possession. Just take the points there, man. You're down 7-0. You're on the road. Your kicker's aces. It's a 41-yard field goal. Just take the 3 and let's go.
Yeah, sometimes you're a little too aggressive.
Yeah.
And looking at it, the play selection wasn't good either. He had a long developing play. No, it's got to be hit and miss. It's got to be a trap up the middle, a zone over the left side. Get behind those big guys in front. You can't have those long developing plays.
Right.
You can't have counter plays and misdirection plays because those plays take too long to develop, and that's playing right in the hands of what that defense does best, and that's penetrate because they have 2 great guys up front with Allen and Payne. They can get penetration, which, a long developing play, tends to put them in a better position to go up there and wreak havoc up the field.
Yeah.
So you got to quit hitting play, go downhill, hand it off, get the ball out your hands quick, man. But, it just goes to show he has a lot of confidence in his team, man. Did you see on that play on the touchdown with Boston Scott where he got stepped on?
When he got his foot
Kelsey?
stepped on. Yeah.
Kelsey stepped on his foot on his right foot, and on his left foot, Dickerson did too. Dickerson stepped on his foot too.
Oh,
both guys stepped on his foot, and he was still able to get the ball out, man.
Yeah, that was a nice flip to Boston Scott, who then continued to string it out, and Goddard went out there and laid a block, and I think Devontae Smith was out there making a block too, which allowed Boston Scott to just dive into the corner of the end zone there. Yeah, that was a pretty cool play. There was how about Avery committing the penalty and then getting the interception from Heinicke? What was that throw? That just goes to show you what that guy does. That should have been an interception had he not committed the defensive holding, which was a legitimate penalty. But man, that's why that guy is who he is. Throws like that.
I mean, he Tyler Heinicke, that's why I didn't care if he was on the COVID list. He wasn't on the COVID list. It didn't matter to me even the first game whether he was going to be on the list or not. He does not invoke any type of fear in me whatsoever.
Oh no,
none whatsoever. I'm not worried about Tyler Heinicke doing anything. You know what I mean? So I wasn't worried about that the first game.
Yeah.
The second game, he showed who he is. But I tell you what, that first half, we couldn't stop anybody. And that just goes to show that Gannon calls games too soft in the beginning.
Yeah.
Way too soft, man. You can't line up where you're going to line up and play defense like that.
Yeah, I know everybody.
A young guy like that. It's just, I mean, you know where he's going to be at. You just can't do it, man. It's a veteran quarterback would, I mean, totally rip you apart. You see how guys that stink were able to rip our defense apart.
I saw a lot of stuff and continue to see it on social media and actually on online about, Jonathan Gannon's held, opponents to under. I couldn't care less. I mean, look, now that's where I go back and say, look who they've faced. Okay. Credit the Eagles for winning the games and for making the playoffs and exceeding expectations and all that. And you can throw the praise where it needs to be, but I'm not going to go crazy about Jonathan Gannon and what, he's held teams to. Let's see him do it against the Rams in the playoffs. He does it against the Rams in the playoffs. Then I salute him. Because that team's got weapons. And although they got a quarterback that I don't trust, they've got a quarterback that's, is one of the better arms in the NFL. And they're being coached by a guy who's a pretty darn good offensive mind, too. So if they do it against the Rams, credit to them.
Well, you know what? That's not necessarily what I'm even worried about. I am more so worried about those two guys that got a receiver, Odell Beckham. Mm-hmm. And the other guy who's leading, he's the leading receiver in the league. Cooper Kupp.
Yeah.
He's the leading receiver in the league.
And don't sleep on Van Jefferson either. He's pretty good
too. Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, they got some weapons. They could throw the ball around, man.
And I like the tight end.
Oh.
I like him a lot.
This is going to be a good game, man. Yeah. And this game is going to be won when we do play. This game is going to be won on the defensive side of the ball. That's where it's going to be won, man. They're going to have to go out there and have a good game against Cooper Kupp, Odell Beckham, all those guys, because offensively we'll be okay. Even with Aaron Donald being there and Jalen Ramsey and
that's going to be strength on strength. Everybody there. Our offensive line against Aaron Donald and that front, that's going to be interesting theater to watch.
Exactly. But I think that have running, we can travel with it. We can hit some guys in the mouth and go downhill and be successful. But I can't see us thinking that we can go out and just, just think that we can just play that vanilla type of defense and think we're going to go anywhere in the playoffs. There's no way that we can go out and stop anybody with that type of defense.
Yeah.
No way.
The Rams play the Niners on Sunday. They're at home against the Niners. Now, I don't know, what teams are going to be fielding what types of lineups and quarterbacks and all that sort of thing. Of course, Garoppolo missed this past weekend's game with his situation, and they ended up beating Houston anyway. But if the Rams found a way to lose, Tampa, I don't think, is losing to Carolina. So that would mean that would be the Buccaneers would jump into the 2 seed, right?
Well, I don't want any part of them. There's no way I want any part of the Bucs because that's when Tom Terrific turns into Tom Terrific, bro.
Right.
So I'd rather play the Rams.
Oh, so would I. Yeah, so would I.
All day.
Yeah.
But if we did play it against Tom, oh my goodness, I'm trying to think. I mean, is Fournette back? Because that'll be a major feat.
I think he's going to be back for the playoffs at some point. I don't know if it'll be the first game.
Right. Right.
Yeah. See, both teams are 12-4, but if the Rams found a way to lose. And it's possible they could lose to the Niners.
Well, I mean, the Niners have their number.
Not right.
They've won like 7 out of the 7 games they've played.
Yeah, Shanahan owns them. That's one of the teams that he just doesn't lose against. So that would be interesting. So Tampa Bay would then, Tampa's not going to lose to Carolina. Carolina's awful. My man Matt Rule has not done a good job this year.
No. So I mean, Where can we get to the 6th seed? Is there any way that we possibly get to the 6th seed?
Well, the only way is if the Eagles won their game against Dallas and San Francisco lost to the Rams. Because that would mean the Niners were 9-8 and the Eagles were 10-7. They lose the tiebreaker to the Niners because of head-to-head. So if they end up tied, the Niners get the nod. But that Niners-Rams game is going to figure in a lot of ways because you just mentioned, if the Eagles win and the Niners lose, then they do bump up to the 6th seed. And then they would play, let's see, if the Niners lost, that would mean the Rams would win. So the Rams would stay the 2 seed. And then they would play Tampa Bay. If the Eagles went up to 6, that would mean the Rams beat the Niners. So the Rams would stay at 2, and the Eagles would play Tampa Bay. So there's a couple different ways this could play out. So it's not a lock for the Rams at all. There's certain different things that can happen here. I don't know. What are the Eagles going to do? What would you like to see them do on Saturday? Play Jalen Hurts and the starters, or let Gardner Minshew and Boston Scott take over?
To be true, Harry, I really think they're gonna sit Hurts. I think they are, simply because his ankle. He wants the ankle to be full power, and going into the playoffs, it's a short week. Gardner Minshew is not that bad that they still have a fighting chance to win if he's in the game. So I could definitely see them sitting Hurts and have Minshew go out there.
Right.
But I still don't know what Dallas is going to do.
Right.
What their place in this. I mean, do they feel as though they have a legitimate chance of moving up higher in the standings? If so, I can see it. But if not,
no.
they're losing guys.
No, because they're a game behind Tampa. Okay. Tampa's got 12 wins. Dallas has 11. So if you got to figure Tampa's going to beat Carolina to get to 13. Yep. So there's no way Dallas is going to be able to advance any higher. They're in the 4 seed.
Yeah, because Tampa already has they already have the tiebreaker with them also.
So
with them beating them with beating Dallas.
Right, and Dallas can't fall down to the 5, and even so, it would mean if they would be able to, they'd play the same team anyway. But they're not able to fall any lower than 4 because they're the division champ.
Right,
so,
right. And plus they have there's some injuries, man. There's some injuries they need to deal with. Michael Gallup's out for the rest of the season. It blew his knee out, ACL tear. Randy Gregory wasn't too healthy in this last game either.
Mm-hmm.
He was in and out of the lineup because of his health. They have some serious injuries on that side of the ball. So I don't know from this point. I don't know from the standpoint of how the Dallas is going to approach this game. I don't really know what they want to do.
We must have a Dallas fan on here, Samuel Rowe, on the stream telling us that Dallas can still get the 2 seed. Yeah, mathematically they can, but that would mean that both Los Angeles and Tampa lose their games next Sunday, and that's not happening, okay?
No.
All right? I get it. They win the 3-way tiebreaker. It ain't going to be a 3-way tie. These Dallas fans. God, they make me sick. They make me sick, Barrett.
Oh, man. Just being in Dallas, man. You go to Dallas, it makes you sick, man.
Oh, is that right?
Oh, man. I played for 12 years, and even after I left Philadelphia, playing in an opposing, I used to play with the Steelers. When I was with the Steelers, I hated playing Dallas. When I played with the Lions, I hated playing Dallas. I always hated playing Dallas. It always had that chip on my shoulder, man. Every time
when you're with the Lions, don't you hate playing everybody?
Oh, yeah. Well, when you're with the Lions, you just hate everything about everything, bro. It's the worst. That is the most unfootball town in the world. They really don't care about their football.
They don't?
They really don't. No. They care about Mr. Ford. Mr. Ford writes the checks in Dallas, so that's what they care about.
Or in Detroit.
You know what I'm saying? Their owner.
Yeah.
I mean, Detroit, yeah.
Yeah. Now, let's get back to the game here. How about what did you think of the first drive in the second half? I thought it was awesome. They kept the ball for about half of the third quarter, 14 plays, 75 yards. They mixed it up with run and pass, and that's the one that ended with that great touchdown where Jalen got his foot stepped on. But the whole drive I thought was really well executed and well called by the coach.
Yeah, they really implemented Boston Scott and Howard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Howard also in that drive. I like how they made sure that they had Howard later in the game.
Yep.
Didn't play him a lot in the beginning. And I tell you what, Boston Scott, Dump Truck, we got to give him some props, man. Dump Truck went out there to play. He didn't have a lot of big yardage, but it was crucial yardage, the yardage that he got.
You were down on Dump Truck at the beginning of this season.
Well, not this season, last season. It was
was it last season?
Yeah. You remember Dump Truck came in out of shape. You know what I mean? He wasn't ready to play.
Right.
Finally worked his way back into shape. This year, nothing but praise from Dump Truck. You give him an opportunity, he goes out there and he balls, man. Yeah, every time he's had to give an opportunity, he's went out there and balled out.
Then they had the drive later where they started off, I think, with a holding penalty on Dickerson. They also had a false start on Lane Johnson, and they survived both of those penalties and ended up getting close enough for a field goal to take the lead 17-16.
Well, that penalty on Dickerson, man, he's still young yet, but I'll tell you what, he made up for it like 2 plays later. I mean, he drove Allen like 10 yards and dumped him on his head, bro.
Yeah, I know.
You know what I mean? That. He made up for it. He definitely made up for it.
Baldy's got another thing on his Instagram this morning with Lane Dickerson, and he does his ode to John Madden on the block, and he isolates it, and he's like, and here's Dickerson, boom, and Dickerson, wham.
See,
it's great. It's great, and that's the other thing we got to talk about before the end of the show is you and I have not been on the show together since the passing of John Madden.
Exactly, man. That's crucial, man. Because I got stories for days, man, of my interaction with John Madden, man.
Oh yeah.
Oh man. In fact, we need to talk about that when we come back, man. Just to tell you how influential he was in my life, and what it was about him that that really, as a not just a football player, but as a fan. Yeah, I love the bottom. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I don't talk about layman's terms when I talk. I try to break down football. I don't try to overtalk people or talk. If I talk about cover 2, I'll tell you what cover 2 is. I'll tell you about 12 personnel. I'll tell you what 12 personnel is. I try to break it down. It's because of Madden that I do that. So it's not layman's terms for me. It's actually Madden's terms. That's what usually when I think about it, I think of it in Madden's terms, because Madden was always trying to teach somebody what he knew about football. He never tried to hold any of his information from you. Right. If you ask him a question, he'll give you the world, man. So I definitely want to talk about John Madden, what he was to me and how he influenced me.
All right, we'll definitely do that when we come back. We're also got to talk about this railing that collapsed and almost toppled Jalen Hurts. I mean, that was a bizarro video. I saw this last night. I'm like, holy shit.
That was crazy, wasn't it?
We got to talk about that. We also got to talk about Antonio Brown and his meltdown yesterday in the third quarter of that game, the Buccaneers at the Jets. Just something that I was just like, what is happening? Like when you knew it was him, you're like, I'm not totally surprised, but it was still just crazy video.
That's finally the end. That's finally the end.
Yeah, I think it's definitely the end with Tampa. Yeah. Arians said after the game that he's no longer a part of the Buccaneers, and I saw Chris Lopresti, who does the updates on SiriusXM and the Fan, tweeted out a picture of Antonio Brown in his street clothes, his outfit with these fancy boots, and his luggage standing outside MetLife Stadium waiting for his Uber.
Right.
While the game is still going on inside. Like, it's just crazy. All right, we got that and a whole lot more to get to. You're listening to The Middle right here on a Victory Monday. The Eagles are in the playoffs. Hit that like button. We'll be back in 3.